What's going on, people? What's up, Frankie J? Paige, Adele. Can you guys hear me okay? Hello, hello, hello. What is up? Great show. Thank you. It is a great show, isn't it? You never know what you're going to get here when you talk about porn. Talk about the things people don't talk about. It's unbelievable what's beneath the surface. Like and share, people, if you wouldn't mind. Help get this going. It's been a minute. I feel like I say that a lot now. It has been a minute, but that's okay. Amber, what's going on? Would you like and share, Dark Angel? We got a midday live. My BF made me feel so ugly when he watched girls looking the opposite of me. I saw him as an animal. Sorry about that. Why? Why would he do that? Why would he do that? Dark Angel. Hey there. Hey there. All right. Is porn cheating? That's the question. That's always the question. It's usually the question. Always is a strong word. We'll give people a few minutes to join. And in the meantime, would you guys mind liking and sharing? And if you don't follow me already, would you hit that follow button if you like my content? If not, just hit it anyways. Just hit it anyways. All right. Is the music coming through? Yeah. How long you have today? You ran away once I cornered you last time. Oh yeah, you cornered me. Yes, Sam, I was very cornered. I just got on, so probably an hour or so. You want to talk? Go ahead and request. Dark Angel, did you actually want to request? I don't think you normally. Frankie, did you want to talk? Oh my God, Sam, we have to talk in reality if you want to talk, okay? I didn't run away. I had a live stream for an hour or two, and it was at the end of the stream. So I had to pick my kids up from school. If you want to interpret that as running away, that's fine. You're welcome to interpret things however you want. But if we do talk, we have to actually speak in reality and not make assumptions, okay? So if I'm still on, I only plan on being on for about an hour today. I'm happy to chat with you. And if the time runs out, if you say that it's because I'm running away, that's disingenuous, okay? Frankie J.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm not assuming anything. I have it screen recorded. Sam, it's also streamed on YouTube, so you can go watch it on YouTube if you want. Hey man, what's going on?
All right. Well, I spoke to you once before. It was late.
Yeah, I remember.
Evening, and I'm 6 years. I have been recovered from addiction to porn, and that was always a question when I first took on this kind of vitalization of my own being and starting to look at how it's affected not just me, but the people that surrounded me in the way of my children, my kids, my wife. I'm 18 years. I was married, and of course, that succumbed to a divorce. I was never emotionally intelligent. This was a topic that, obviously, when you're an addict of something, you deflect. Your self-awareness is minimal. Your emotional intelligence is none. And you always feel like, in some way, somehow, that you're kind of the victim of that spouse feeling like this is something that is affecting the relationship. And I had to come to some real realizations that, I saw the whole picture, but it took a lot of therapy. I belong to a group called Celebrate Recovery. I also belong to a group that meets 3 times a week of other like men who are facing their addictions and in different phases of recovery and whatnot. Not every day is perfect for all these guys, but I can genuinely say that for 6 years I've been without porn, and I've seen the rebound of my emotional intelligence, there's no rebound. I never had it. From age 11 through age 49, I was addicted to porn, hours upon hours a day. And when I was with my then wife, I was, the only way I would be able to get an erection was be able to think about the porn that I had watched prior. And the fact that she felt, me disconnected, the fact that she felt like I was, in it for the physical act and that I was thinking of something else, she was very right. And these women can't compete with what's been, burned into the minds of us men who have frequented porn so frequently. It's just, for me, this process has been incredible. I am definitely a believer today that porn is cheating, no question. Anything you have to hide, anything you're defensive about, especially if approached about, that behavior, that would tell you that, that's a form of cheating. It's called lying by omission. I'm a firm believer this is a topic that a lot of men are facing, and none of us are really proud of it. Maybe some would be able to say, well, yeah, I'm proud of it, but that's denial. I think that it's not something we would go out and shout on the rooftops that we have an addiction to pornography and how it affects the children when I wouldn't be able to embrace porn. I was usually traveling Monday through Thursday. I'd get home on the weekends, the time I spend with my kids, and because I wouldn't be able to watch porn or go to relieve myself in the restroom with masturbation, I would become very short with them. There came a come to Jesus meeting just a couple of years ago where I took each one of my kids and I explained to them how I wish I was a better father, and I've been so blessed that they've all forgiven me. They were unaware of how bad it was. They've learned through their mother because she was very hurt. But no, I love this topic, and I think that anybody that bucks this topic is in denial, and that's okay. I was in denial for many years, but I even had an issue or a problem.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, man. I do remember talking to you a while back. So you used it for roughly 40 years, right? Around 11 to 49-ish, or no? You've been clean now 6 years.
Been clean now 6 years.
Okay. What was the hardest part of making that shift from using pornography regularly to realizing it was a problem and you needed to stop?
Well, one of the things I did with my most recent girlfriend, because it became an issue in the beginning of our relationship, and she was well aware of it. I put like certain apps on my phone so she could watch my activity. I didn't have a computer. The accountability, I kind of felt like a kid. But honestly, it was necessary for me because one way or another, I was going to find it or some form of it. I think that was the hard part, was realizing that I had a problem, that I had an issue, that I did not have control. And I think that, just the fact that relationship too did succumb because of just the years and years of anguish and fighting back and forth. And there was never a healthy relationship that I've ever experienced. And sex was my dopamine rush. I mean, some people look at alcohol as a drug. Absolutely it is. Drugs, yes, but when it comes to gambling, yes, but man, it's no different for the guy who's a sex addict that indulges in pornography. I mean, that dopamine rush is like no other, and it's a high that I would always chase.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat is asking if they can ask you a question. Are you okay with that? Shay, go ahead. What's your question for him? And I think Shay's been here before, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And Help Cakes, I see you there. Glad you got those socks for Black Friday. Look forward to chatting with you, because I'm sure you'll come on.
All right. Okay.
What's that?
She's typing the question.
Yeah, I think so. Tap the screen, guys. Tap the screen. We're just getting started. I'll be on for about an hour here today. Took a little bit of time off over the last week, so here we are. We're back talking about pornography and trying to find the answer to the question, is porn cheating? Is it cheating to masturbate while watching strangers have sex, particularly when you're in a committed monogamous relationship? All right, so Shay said, I found out my husband was watching it right before we would be intimate. This is a big red flag. He says it's nothing. Okay, so what's your question, Shay? I could certainly comment on that, and I'm sure that Frankie could as well. But it probably didn't feel like nothing to you, Shay. I'm curious what that felt like. And Frankie, how do you think it made your wife or girlfriend at the time feel when you were hiding pornography?
Well, when I was hiding pornography and she would feel me not present, I mean, I could replay it in my brain so vividly. And especially if I watched it right prior to having intimacy, I was just monkey see, monkey do. I mean, I was just reliving it in my head. And it wasn't that the girl I was with, the woman that I was with, wasn't insanely attractive. She was. But I think that it had to make her feel like she was just a piece of meat, to be honest with you. I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, she felt like I didn't see her emotionally. I couldn't meet her emotional needs in the bedroom, much less could I meet them outside the bedroom. And so when it wasn't just limited to watching porn right before we would be intimate. It was constant. It was whenever I had an opportunity, or my phone was so frequent. So yeah, it was constantly where I was never present to her. So therefore, there was a lack of respect for the relationship, lack of respect for myself too. But
Yeah.
mostly, she couldn't live up to those fantasies I had in my own head, and that's sad.
Yeah, totally. It creates unrealistic expectations. And for anybody who's been affected by it, who's been on the betrayed side of it, you have to know it doesn't have anything to do with you. Your partner looking at pornography is not because of anything you are doing or are not doing, of how you look or how you don't look. It has nothing to do with your enoughness or your lack of enoughness. It's him.
Sure, you're right.
It's him seeking out some sort of pleasure in a way that is not honoring of the relationship. And like you said, Shay, it ruins everything. Now all I feel is that he is picturing those women and looking right through me. Yeah, and that's betrayal talking. That's betrayal talking.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
I had learned of a statistic a couple years back that if you took and this is how big of a pandemic it is. It's a major situation with us men. If you took all the major four sports, Major League Baseball, NHL, hockey, NFL football, all the tickets, all the money made, all the food, all the jerseys sold, you name it, and they still wouldn't, if you all added up, they still wouldn't equivalent to the money being made through pornography. And that'll just go to show you that this is a pandemic, and us men are just, we're so visually stimulated, and we're not seeing the effects that it has on these women.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's mortifying.
Yeah, and I've heard that statistic before, and that is certainly true. I'm curious how that holds up in today's numbers, because that statistic used to be pretty widespread, like roughly 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was about 6 to 8 years ago. I learned of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering what that looks like today. I'd have to do some research on that. All right, so yeah, go ahead.
For me, the dopamine reset, which they often talk about, is a 90-day fast, basically, to reset your dopamine. I did 103 days, and I wouldn't say it was easy. I would say it got more difficult as I got closer to the 90 days, where there was temptation and whatnot. The porn was gone, but the idea to masturbate and use euphoric recall from some of the things I saw in my head, that was still prevalent in my head. I made it 103 days, but after those 103 days, it was insanely different. And I literally have spent the last year by myself at a choice through therapeutic recommendations of not just jumping into another relationship. And I just recently started dating, and it feels incredibly different. Like even the simple touch, even the simple kiss, which back in my addict days, a kiss was worth nothing to me. I didn't want a kiss. I just wanted the act of sex. And now it's like I value a kiss, which is, this may sound ridiculous to people, but this is how it affects us men.
Yeah, totally. So how long has it been again since you stopped it?
It's close to 6.5 years now.
Oh, almost 7.
I used to count
6 or
I
7.
remember I used to count the days, the months, and then once I got to a year, and then every year that it renewed, which was on or around my birthday, which was January 7th. And I'll be 57 this year. And to think that, I come from a long line of addicts in my family. My father's admission to me was, in fact, that he was a sex addict. And he'll say, well, God, spared me. He took my faculties away, my ability to get an erection. And I'll say, no, you broke it, Dad. Let's be honest, you broke it. And I started having erectile dysfunction in my mid 40s. And, pornography I thought was going to cure it, and it did not. It made things far worse. And today I'm blessed. I'm blessed because all this reset and all this therapy I've done in getting those images out of my head, which eventually the euphoric recall goes away, and it has gone away. But at the same time, now life looks a lot different. So
Yeah.
I'm blessed. I love your topic. I'll keep joining your podcast. It's a phenomenal. I think it's a great topic. It's one that I'm encouraged to eventually get into your line of thinking and talking to my mass groups of people that I'm friends with. So.
Well, look, man, you already are there, and don't underestimate how you can be used to speak, to be a voice in this. Okay,
Yeah.
you can do that. You can do that right now. You're doing it right now. Okay.
I mean, I don't want to come from a place of authority. My story is one that's.
No, I got it, man. Yeah,
my story is just one I think a lot of men can relate to, just to help
Well,
them out with their relationships.
Totally, and that's what I found is helpful as well. And I kind of share that is, it's not necessarily coming at a place of authority, but it's being well read and well researched on the topic of what I would say the authorities are, right? The people who write the books on this, and sharing your experience is so powerful. And don't underestimate how your story can be used to be able to impact somebody's life, however big or however small. So.
Absolutely. And Shay, you'll remain on my prayers. There is a great book that I've read, and I've read it 5 times now. And each time I read it, and I learn something new and different, and that's Helping Her Heal. I'm trying to remember the author, but Dr. Weiss. And it's one that if you have.
No, that's a different book. This is Help Her Heal.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, it was an amazing book, and I've read it 6 times now. And it's just like you just really get the sentiment of how you've affected the people, not only, just mostly around you, especially your spouse, and how they feel betrayed, and how to not be so defensive, because that is one of the worst things that I did was I was defensive, almost like defending my bad behavior. It doesn't mean I become meek. It just means I become self-aware and help, be a better listener and help her, get through. Yeah. So like I say to this today, if I were, in the dating field, and especially the venues that I visit, which is often bars and often wineries because I sing, the chances of me meeting a woman who's been divorced once, twice, been through abuse, been through a lot of the similarities of sexual abuse, and be able to enter a relationship with them, you best be prepared that if you're going to be in a healthy relationship, how to handle the traumas from the prior relationship. And that's kind of why I read that too. It was not only for me to be able to help heal people around me, but I'm going to be probably entering into another relationship at some point. And the success of it's, it's boding upon whether I'm able to be there mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but emotional intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah, man, love that. Keep coming back, keep sharing. I'll bring you on, man. I know your story helps people, and I love giving voice to people on both sides of this conversation, and appreciate you sharing, man.
Appreciate you too. Thank you, man.
All right, man. Take care. Bye. The book he mentioned is Help Her Heal. I'm sure Dr. Doug Weiss also has a book similar to that topic. Dr. Doug Weiss has written many of the books on this topic as well. And he's got Worthy of Her Trust. Is that by him? I don't know, but he's got a lot of books on it as well. All right, Sam. Listen, if you haven't figured this out about me, Sam, I have a very, very long leash, a ton of patience for people here, no matter what you think or what you want to share. Okay? But here's a couple things that will make it so that leash gets shortened. Is one, you have to speak in reality, in truth. Nobody here said, at least that, and maybe there was a comment, but I didn't say it, Frankie didn't say it, that a sex addict and corn addict are the same thing. I didn't say that. So you've spammed here about 10 times. A sex addict and corn addict are not the same. Stop conflating them. You are correct in that. You are correct in that. A sex addict and corn addict, they are actually, there's a distinction. This is made about 20, 25 years ago by Dr. Ted Roberts and Dr. Doug Weiss, scientifically proving that they're different. Okay, Sam, also, spamming in the comments is not useful. Spamming in the comments is not useful, okay? If you want to come on here and talk, you're welcome to. But spamming in the comments over and over and over is not helpful. Okay? So if you want to make a point, request, come on, we'll bring you on. And if not, go somewhere else. Why didn't I correct the guest? I actually didn't hear that. I'd have to go back and listen to it. I didn't hear him make the claim that sex and porn addiction are the same thing. I didn't hear that. So if he said that, then I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen to what was said. And by the way, if my job was to correct everything that everybody ever said here on my live, whether it's people talking to me or in the comments, there would not be enough hours in the day to do so. There would not be enough hours in the day to do so. Let's bring another guest on. Hey there, what's going on? Hey there, what's going on?
Hi, how's it going, bud?
I'm doing good, thanks. How are you? I'm doing good, thanks. How are you? I
Oh,
got
doing just
a
fine.
mad
I just
echo
wanna
over
add
there.
my-
I got a mad echo.
Oh, shoot. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. Give me just one moment.
All right. All right.
Okay, is that any better at all? Hello,
Let me
hello.
talk and let me see. Yeah, I think it is. All right. Is porn cheating?
Okay, perfect. I think a better question to ask about cheating is or a better way to think about it is that cheating can kind of be anything that two partners discuss and agree to. To me, cheating is anything that defies your partner's boundaries or expectations. So I think in that sense, for some people, porn, watching porn, engaging in that could definitely be considered cheating. But for many others, it's absolutely not the case. I mean, for example, there are individuals who are in full-fledged open relationships that agree to allow their partners to go and seek, sexual engagement with other individuals, and then come back at the end of the day and no transgressions have transpired. I mean, it's totally cool with them. So I think that we can have a conversation about whether or not porn is harmful, on a societal, psychological level. But it's another conversation to try to broadly state that it is in and of itself cheating by default.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, and Sam, I'm going to actually say the exact same thing I said when I talked to you. I agree. If it's not defined as cheating, it's not cheating, right? So if in the example you just gave, Supernova, if you're in an open relationship, meaning what governs a relationship is not an expectation of monogamy where there's just mutuality for the two of you being in a sexual relationship, then using pornography would not be cheating because it wouldn't go outside of that agreement, right? So then there's the next question, is porn
Right.
harmful? What do you think?
I definitely think that it can be. And a lot of this is really hard to pin down because there are so many different types of pornography. Anywhere from just like, an amateur video that a couple wanted to share with the internet versus the stuff that's produced that is super duper exploitative, derogatory and demeaning towards women, that may have some sort of impact on the way that young men specifically, process that information and the way that they behave around and think about the opposite gender. There's a lot of potential harm, but again, it's one of those things where I would have a hard time being able to argue that it is in and of itself, like just at its base level, inherently harmful. I really do think that a lot of it comes to how the industry is operated, the types of content that people create, and all the various impacts that all those variables can have on the viewer, and even the participants.
Yeah, totally. Do you watch pornography?
Occasionally. You know, I don't want to get go against TOS here, but I mean, like, I've never been one to partake in anything like super hardcore. I tend to shy away from stuff that feels in any way derogatory towards specifically like the women involved. It's just it's I guess that's just a matter of taste, but yeah, flatly yes. Occasionally, it's something that I do engage in. I'm a married man, by the way.
Got it.
Happily married 3 years this last November.
Got it. Congratulations. Does your wife know that you watch pornography?
Yeah, we discuss it. In fact, I've encouraged us to perhaps try it together. It's not something that she's particularly interested in, it seems. Not that she's completely against it, but I just think she's a little bit indifferent towards it. But, we have a very, very healthy and open and communicative relationship. I really feel as if, if my wife ever asked, hey, can I see the type of porn that you're watching? I would be comfortable with it because I know that the type of content that I consume is not demeaning towards women, which is, my major concern there. Again, trying not to go to break TOS here, but the type of content that I consume probably wouldn't give her any reason to be jealous or insecure or anything like that. So,
got it. Okay. Why don't you just tell her? I'm curious.
Tell her like what?
Like
what
the type of
specific-
pornography you watch.
I mean, I do.
Okay.
I do tell her.
I thought you said it wasn't.
Yeah.
I thought you said you didn't tell her the specific type you watch.
No. Not through like omission, like willful omission. It's just something that I'll tell her about things, and I'll even suggest videos to her sometimes. So say, hey, does this do anything for you? And she'll be like, okay, sure. But yeah, it's nothing is obfuscated intentionally. I mean, I'm not sitting,
Yeah.
Sitting there telling her every time I decide, to crank open Pornhub while I'm in the bathroom, like, hey, you'll never guess what I just watched. That's just not, part of our dialogue.
Yeah. So why do you watch it?
I would be, well, I mean, for sexual gratification. I mean, why does anybody watch it, right?
Yeah. So sexual gratification. So you're seeking sexual gratification from presumably women on a
Yes.
screen who aren't your wife.
Well, I'm trying not to break TOS here. Yeah, I mean, I guess definitely like the female form is involved, right? It's not specifically women, right? Granted, like, yeah, I do have like a favorite actress, right? From even way back in the day. But yeah, I mean, it's less about the person, right, than it is the imagery and the activities. In fact, while I'm watching most of the time, I'm kind of imagining my wife and I in that scenario, right? Like, I'm not sitting there thinking, man, I wish that was me with this other woman. It's just me watching and kind of doing a little bit of extra fantasizing on top of it,
Got it. All right. So you watch. It sounds like heterosexual porn of a man and a woman.
Typically, yeah.
Having sex, and you're imagining you and your wife having sex while you're watching the other people have sex.
Yeah, kind of something like that. I mean,
Got it. So
yeah,
all right.
definitely.
All right. How long have you been doing that for? I'm imagining it started before you got married 3 years ago.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like it's I guess ever since we've known one another.
Got it. But did you start watching it when you were a kid, or just when you met your wife?
Oh, no, 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 no. I mean, I would say I first started. I got a computer in my bedroom when I was 14. So that was whenever I had fully fledged access to the World Wide Web, and of course, um, typical 14-year-old boys to do a little exploring. But yeah, that's I mean, but even before then, like, I'm sure we all have the story, or know somebody who's found some magazines lying around the house in a closet somewhere, from a relative or something like that. I mean, I had exposure to it at a younger age. Or I don't know if you're specifically asking when the practice of like occasional porn usage began, but I mean, if that's what you're asking, then yeah, like 14 years old.
Got it. Okay. And how old are you now?
I'm 36.
36. Okay. So for a little over 20 years, you've used pornography?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's occasional. I haven't ever really had any particular issues with it, and like I said, I was raised by my mom, and she implanted a lot of a lot of feminist ideas in my head early on. So like, I guess the thing that I always feel like is, again, like it's like the type of content that it's garbage in, garbage out, right? So if like you're gonna watch stuff that's like super duper demeaning, then that's gonna affect how you perceive women. But anyways, yeah.
Do you think it's impacted how you perceive women at all?
I mean, that's a good question, man. That's a really good question. I've never thought about that one before. I would say that, like, it would be impossible for it not to, right? Like, it would be like any sort of information that we take in. Our personalities are comprised of all of our lived experiences, right? So, like, for me to try to say that, like, yeah, no, I've never had anything affect the way that I perceive, the opposite gender, through my porn usage over the years, like, it would be a little bit, a little naive, right, to assume that. But as far as like how it has affected my perception of women, I don't know. How could we, what sort of things could we address or try to shine a light on to see if there's been any sort of like harmful or benign or even positive effect. How could we determine that?
Yeah, that's a good question, man, and I appreciate your honesty and your intellectual consistency. Can we just kind of spitball possibilities on how it may have impacted? And by the way, this comes from somebody who I used pornography for about 20 years as well. Around that same age range, I was about 12 years old when I started watching it, and stopped when I was about 32.
Yeah.
So I get it. I think one way that it warps how you perceive women is it makes sex essentially meaningless. And what I mean by that is it requires nothing of you to go and be with a virtual woman, right? All you have to do is whip out your phone, and it's like Girls on Demand. So I don't have to do anything to go and get my rocks off, as they say. I just pull out my phone, and it's like I'm, browsing a directory. Oh, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. And that is not reality, right? As you know, you're married, right? I would imagine you didn't just open up a catalog and pick the one you wanted, and then she showed up at your door, right? It required something of you to be an attractive partner in order to, create a relationship with her, right? And so that's, I think, one of the ways that pornography kind of distorts that is my belief. You don't have to believe this or anybody else, but I think, when we look at romance and dating and relationships, it's so much more than just picking the parts that you like and kind of ordering them up on demand. And with pornography, it trains your brain to do that, to say, okay, I can just curate my experience while requiring nothing of me. Does that land with you?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that is a potential risk, right? Like that is one of the potential harms that we can see. I mean, we see meted out in the way that, young men are currently struggling with pornography addiction and engaging with the opposite gender. However, I think that maybe it wouldn't be, I don't know. I think it would be presumptuous to assume that that is something that is inherent in any sort of porn, consumptions. I think that, like, when I think about, what you've just said, and then I think about my own life, my wife, and our relationship and our sex life. I mean, like, it certainly hasn't done anything to diminish the value of our sexual relationship and our physical, romantic, and emotional and intellectual intimacy that we share. I'm smart enough to, and I think that I would argue that most people probably are to some degree. I mean, obviously, like, the younger you are, the more susceptible you are to get these things confused. But, like, I know that whenever I go and see porn online, it's not in any way something that that's not transmediating over to my relationship with my wife, right? It's two completely compartmentalized things in my mind, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, and I hear you. I would encourage you to stress test that idea, right? Is you having your favorite performer going to her on the screen to have a sexual release, is that creating any type of wedge between you and your wife?
I mean, what would that kind of wedge look like?
You're getting sexual gratification from somebody who's not your wife.
Right. And so right in that moment, I mean, like, you're seeming to insinuate that I should be seeking sexual gratification exclusively with my wife, right? That would be.
I think that's in my orientation a better outcome, especially if you're married and you said something to her like, "I love you, only you, mind, body, and soul, till death do us part."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I gotcha. Right, and I, again, it's one of those things where I think that the partners involved, that's something that they can discuss. Is if that they feel that, sharing that, what do they call it? Could we call that a parasexual connection? If we could call, like, relationships that people develop with, like, streamers, parasocial relationships?
Yeah, parasocial relationships. Yeah, there are.
Would we refer to?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just asking if that's something that we could refer to as a parasexual relationship.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people do kind of talk about pornography as a parasocial relationship. I've never heard parasexual relationship. I'm going to read.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something I came up with. I've never heard of it either. I just
okay.
Kind of spitballing here.
It is a thing, I guess. The term parasexual relationship is ambiguous. This is just Google's AI overview, so this is not research this. It's ambiguous and can refer to several different concepts, most commonly being a parasocial relationship, which is a one-sided bond with a media personality. Parasexuality is a term for people who engage in recreational sex without experiencing sexual attraction. Another less common interpretation could be a parasexual cycle in biology, or the more discrete, covert sexual dynamics in a professional setting referred to as parasexuality.
Well, that's very fascinating. I don't know how the logistics of that would work, but that's
individuals who identify as parasexual do not experience sexual attraction to others, but still engage in sexual activity for pleasure or recreation.
Gotcha. So I've heard of that dynamic with, like, asexual people who are in relationships, or just, like, asexual people in general who, like, crave sexual release but don't actually experience sexual attraction to anybody. So essentially it would be like, try to not go break TOS, but mutual, M-word based
masturbation. Yeah.
Okay, we can say that here. Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be cautious here for you.
So here's the question, man. Do you think it's honoring to your wife when you're going and seeking out other women or men, watching them have sex, and presumably masturbating it? Do you think that's honoring to your wife and to your relationship?
Can you define what you mean specifically by honoring?
Yeah, good question. Honoring, upholding your commitment, upholding your vow, kind of viewing your sexual
Yeah.
connection as something that is sacred between the two of you? Do you think that activity
yeah.
would honor that?
Yeah. So again, this just kind of falls back to my perspective on where what honors your commitment is based on what that commitment consists of, and what, for lack of better words, what sort of romantic, spiritual contract that you engaged in, right? Like, for some people, I think absolutely that could be dishonorable. I imagine probably I have a lot of conservative family. I imagine that for some of them, that might be seen as something that would be extremely dishonoring towards their spouses, and other friends that I know, their partners who are not yet married. But then there are others who I know that it wouldn't do anything to assail the sanctity of their vows to one another. And I don't, maybe it's something that I could talk to my wife about. I'd be happy to, but currently I don't believe that it's something that directly violates the sanctity of our vows to one another.
Got it.
Because this is a behavior that I've been forthright about. It's something that we have discussed time and time again. And I think that she kind of knows where I'm at. At least I would hope so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if that was something that I found did hurt her, did harm her, then there's no question about whether or not I would, continue to, persist or otherwise. It would be cut off immediately.
Yeah. Got it. I'm curious what she thinks as well. Is she there? Can we get her on?
No. She's at work.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah. Also, I feel like that's maybe a conversation that, on the matter of sanctity, something that probably would be best discussed in private rather than in a TikTok live. No offense.
Yeah. Well, maybe there's a good conversation to have.
Yeah, definitely, man. And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll lead to me finally getting my wish of us, exploring a little bit together. If we could start talking about just curious, what do you think about that? Like couples who regularly engage in porn consumption together.
My question is why? What are you really seeking when you're looking at pornography? Many people say education. They want to be educated.
Right?
And if arousal's your answer, then my question would be, why are you going to other people who aren't one another to be sexually aroused?
So you're coming from a framework, I think, where monogamy is the only, and this is, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm just making, from the context of our conversation, it seems to me that you have the perspective that monogamy is really the only valid configuration of like romantic relationships. And if that's the case, I would just have to fundamentally disagree with that, right? Like,
yeah, I wouldn't agree to what you said, and I would want to know what you mean by valid, because there's obviously many different ways that people engage in relationship, right?
Okay, good. Okay.
But what I
so,
what I would stick to is what's the agreement, right? So it's a line that I say frequently is, if you're monogamous and you're using pornography, I'm not going to say you're not monogamous necessarily, because monogamous generally has the connotation of physical intercourse. But what I would say is you may not be as monogamous as you think if you're going outside of the relationship to get sexual gratification from other people.
That's a great conversation. And just recently I had a conversation with a couple people about like the actual definitions of monogamy and polyamory. I'm trying to think of what the exact things we were discussing, but I think that it was about how some couples, or not couples, but I guess people call them polycules, like some polyromantic configurations have people who have like primary partners, like where they have like one partner that they live with, and they sleep around with other people, but they're really only romantically involved with that one person. Or they may have like their spouse, right? But they may actually genuinely have other romantic connections that are just simply lesser than. So like, I don't know. I was having a discussion a couple of weeks ago about like whether or not we can call certain behaviors monogamous, or if like strictly only, you know, one-on-one involvement in any capacity, if that's the only thing that qualifies as monogamy. All sorts of discussions around that, and I think that's a really, that's interesting stuff to think about. But anyways, neither here nor
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, well, it
yeah.
is. It's all tied up in it, right? And again, I would just go back to the, you know, what would be the most honoring of the monogamous relationship? Would it be to use other people outside of it, or to just focus on one another? My orientation would be just the two people, right?
Yeah,
and so
and
to
I
go
can
outside
definitely
of
see
that,
the value in that.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like I can totally see the value in that. And again, I just think I think people are so multifaceted and varied and different that it's just not going to be the same for every person. You know, for you and your wife, I'm assuming you're married.
yep,
Okay, go. You know, for you and your wife, that may be something that you know, that's the way that you two see it, and that's a beautiful thing. And then for other people, you know, having several different partners throughout the week may be something that in no way dishonors the sanctity of their marital agreements with one another. You know, it just is. It's so incredibly varied from person to person and relationship to relationship. And that's why I think that the only rule of thumb that we really can go by is you know, asking, okay, what are the expectations that this couple set out for one another? What are the things that they agreed upon? And do any of their actions betray those expectations and agreements? You know, and
Yeah.
that and to me is what cheating is. You know.
Yeah, and so on that point, and I want to wind it down and go to another guest, and I'll give you a chance to respond. But we actually do know that having, like in your example, multiple partners throughout the week, and let's just say there's hundreds of partners, we actually do know that actually makes it harder to be in committed relationship the more partners you have.
Oh yeah, I can.
Right. So even though even though it may not be technically cheating in the way that the relationship is defined, there's no question that there's negative impact on that person's ability to have secure attachment with the person who they want to settle down with. So
that's something I'd like to see the information on. There's a lot of questions I have about that, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. Maybe on another day I can rejoin and we can discuss it a little bit further.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, man.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate your time and your patience, man.
Yeah, man. You too. See ya.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. All right. Sam, that's how you have a conversation while disagreeing on something. Can't wait to talk to you again. Jade, I'll get to you in 1 second. I'll be right back. Hold on a second. All right. All right.
Good afternoon.
Hey there, what's going on? Good afternoon.
So I fully intend to keep this kind of short, sweet, and to the point. But the way you have the question on here, it's very black and white, and I think that's the mistake a lot of people make. For me, it boils down.
Hold on. What's black and white about the question? It says, "Is porn cheating?"
So the way that it's asked is a yes or no question.
Okay.
So that makes it black for no and white for yes, or whichever way you want to say that. Like just the phrasing of the question. So a little bit of backstory. I'm a journalist, so like wording always catches my attention.
Mm-hmm.
But my perspective on this is that, is there communication? Is there mutual consent? Has it been discussed what it provides for each person, which would fall under the communication? And depending on that, as a joint team, you come to an answer of we are or are not okay with this.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be that explicit, implicit communication. And I am someone that has been monogamous. I'm someone that's been polyamorous. I have been both okay with the concept of, I'm in a semi-work environment, so of what your question is regarding.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been in situations where I have not been okay with it, simply depending on what that meant for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
If I know that that is how they get their connection, I had a guy call me the wrong name and it was of his favorite star. Immediately, I was no longer okay with it.
Well, while you were being intimate?
While we were being intimate, yes.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
However, I've had another relationship where things got a little bit dry and monotonous. And so as a team, we came together, we indulged, and we found some new ideas. So it really depends on that intention, that communication, that transparency. That is what, for me, and I think for many others, defines whether or not it is cheating.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, so with regard to the question, it's a conversation starter, right? I can only put so many words up here, and it's a pretty good conversation starter in my experience.
Fair.
And I agree, if you listen to what I was talking about with the last guest, you do have to have a conversation. What governs the relationship when it comes to your sexuality? What if the question was phrased like this? Is it cheating to masturbate while watching strangers have sex and fantasizing with them while you are in a committed monogamous relationship with somebody?
Is there something to be found for that person in exhibitionism that can't be found without it?
I don't know. But is it cheating to masturbate while watching strangers have sex while you're in a committed monogamous relationship with somebody?
That would just depend on my partner's and I's communication, what their answers are to my follow-up questions.
Got it. Okay. So in your orientation, that wouldn't, if there's an agreement of monogamy or an expectation of monogamy, masturbating while watching strangers have sex would not violate that?
If there's an agreement that we've come to, if they've said, hey, this is something that is important for me, this is a core part of what I enjoy, right? I might even have the response of, I haven't experienced that, but I'm curious. And see what it brings them. Not yes or no, but explore it. Curiosity is my answer to that, to see where I stand on it. And honestly, these are conversations that should be had long before you're in a committed monogamous relationship. You need to understand.
That's
who
for
you're
sure.
with.
That's for sure. Yeah.
And like Jay said in the comments, I agree that ongoing communication as things change, as things evolve, as you learn more about one another.
Mm-hmm. So when, in your perspective, when does cheating become cheating?
Cheating becomes cheating the second that you feel you are having to hide something from your partner or are intentionally omitting something.
Got it. Okay.
No, Amber, I'm not saying you can send a video of yourself to her boyfriend and it's not cheating. That is very different than simple corn.
How is it different?
Because that is a violation of a friendship. That is somebody that you know personally. Well, and again, so I've had somebody, I am married. I'm in a long-term marriage. I'm very happy in my marriage. I had a female that I considered to be a friend send my husband explicit pictures. His immediate reaction was to tell me, as he was blocking her, delete the pictures from his phone and go tell her husband what she had done without his permission. So then, did he cheat because he non-consensually got something from somebody else? Absolutely not. He can't control other people. He can only control his actions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's if he just received a message. So,
yeah, no,
are you?
To something in the
Yeah,
comments.
I got you. Are you? So, do you guys? What's your agreement with pornography in your marriage?
We personally in our marriage right now don't use it. However, we are also in a closed polyamorous relationship. We have found what we can and cannot provide one another, and we each
Wait,
have
closed
a
polyamorous.
connection.
What does that mean? Is that the same as monogamous?
So it means monogamous typically refers to just two people. I call it closed polyamory because there are three of us, so many people wouldn't consider that monogamous. However, we're not welcoming anybody else into that circle, so it's a closed polycule.
Well, mono means one, right? Like one other person. So two people. So anything more than that would be poly, meaning many, right?
Yes.
So you're in a poly relationship.
Yes, we're just not actively accepting other people into that. So,
Got it.
okay, so we each have our other person, and that's it. People hear polyamorous and they think, oh, I can always make a move. Like, we're kind of getting into the weeds a little bit with it, but the reason I state that we are closed polyamorous is that while, yes, we both have multiple partners, we are not still accepting more. We learned how to.
Is there like an
communicate.
application process? I'm serious. Like the way you're languaging that.
I mean, yes, kind of. It's called
Like a
vetting
Google form you
in
send to
dating.
people or what?
No, it's called vetting. So, like, for example, when I met my partner, my husband kind of felt the vibes out. We trust each other's judgment. We trust each other implicitly in many things. And so he said, hey, I have this concern about this person from what I noticed when I met them. And I'm like, okay. And so I kind of heard them out and I talked to them about what I had seen from knowing them more. And so I wouldn't call it an application, but there is a vetting process of figuring out if this is going to, if adding this individual is going to maintain safety within our family.
Got it. Do you guys have kids?
Yes.
You and the husband, or
She's my stepdaughter, and I love her with my whole heart.
got it. So he had kids before you guys got married. So if you guys have more than just you two, you're poly. Why did you get married?
We got married because death and taxes.
Oh, got
The
it. So it was
country is built
it was
for married people.
So you got married for tax purposes.
Well, we got married because we love each other, but marriage to us is so much more than what a piece of paper offers, right? We were married long before we ever got a piece of paper.
Okay.
Marriage is commitment. Marriage is choosing that person every day. Marriage is working through things. Marriage is
So do you not
That-
have that same orientation towards the others in your relationship? There's not a commitment there.
oh no, I absolutely do.
Got it. Are
Just
you married? Are you
because
married to
I'm
them
not
also?
specific. According to the United States, no. According to my heart, my mind, and my relationship with my husband, yes.
Got it.
We are all married to one another. That's just not the way that the US would have it be.
Got it. If push came to shove, which one would you choose?
If one of them asked me to choose, then I don't respond to dilemmas. So if my husband said that I had to choose, then I'm choosing my wife. And if my wife said I had to choose, then I'm choosing my husband, because you're violating the agreement. You're violating the core terms of our relationship, the understanding that we began with.
Got it. So there's 4 of you, husband, wife, and you have a wife also?
There's 3 of us.
Oh, there's 3. Okay, I thought you said you each have somebody else outside of that. So there's 3 of you total. You, a husband who are legally married, and then a non-legally married wife.
Yes.
Got it. And 1 child that came from the husband.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So obviously porn wouldn't be cheating for you because you're not in a monogamous relationship.
Oh, no, it absolutely would be. It's not within our agreed terms.
Oh,
And he has plenty to like, we have other ways to achieve those same means within my current relationship. And it's something that we have explicitly asked of each other that we not indulge in, because
Got it.
within polyamory you already have to dedicate a lot of focus, time, attention, communication. For us, corn is not within our agreed boundaries.
Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah.
it would be.
Yeah, got it. So you, even though you're in a poly relationship, you still, part of your agreement is not to use pornography because that goes outside of the way that you've defined the relationship.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks for sharing.
Not a problem. You have a great day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Little comic relief here. Help Cakes. Help Cakes is going to come on. Maybe. Our favorite guest. W's in the chat for all of our guests. And like and share if you guys like my content. If not, don't like and don't share. I don't care. What's up, Krista? Good to see you. Give me a follow if you guys want to watch more of this fascinating conversation around the question, is porn cheating? All right, Help Cakes isn't here. Tony Boy, what's going on?
What's up, my man?
Not much. Is porn cheating?
I say if you and your partner have that agreement to where it's not, then it's not. And then that's kind of just where that lands. If one agrees that it is, and then you go outside and you consume it without that person knowing, even though they have told you that they're not okay with it, then yeah, that's cheating. But if both people have come to the agreement of like, no, whatever you do on your private time is your private time, you go ahead and have fun. Then if those are the boundaries that you're okay with, then I would say that like, no, that's not a problem. It's not cheating.
Got it. Got it. All right. So do you watch porn?
Occasionally.
Okay. How long you been doing that for?
Probably since I was 14, 15, I don't know.
Okay. Why do you do that?
So at the end of the day, it's about like, it's can we say the word masturbation on here?
You just did?
Well, yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's like, it's about that, right? It's or self pleasure. I'll say that. There's self pleasure in that. And I think human beings, we have different dopamine hits, right? Like there's maybe if you're a guy or a girl, there's like action dopamine hits where maybe you're into like watching a lot of action movies. There's intellectual dopamine hits where maybe you want to sit down and listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson. There's sports dopamine hits.
I love watching Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Same. I'll put him on before I go to bed. I swear to God.
Mm-hmm.
There's sports dopamine hits where maybe you just want to watch some sports and football, and then there's sexual dopamine hits where like your body goes through moments to where you're a little turned on, and it's not your partner's responsibility for every single time you have an urge to want to have the feeling of arousal or sexual arousal. It's not your partner's responsibility to always indulge in fixing your problem. They're not going to always be there to fix that said problem. So then that's when self-care comes into. So I use the word self-care for that. And how do you go about self-care? We could say, okay, well, why don't you just like use your mind and just, instead of watching porn, you could just use your mind. Is using your mind to imagine things in itself, is that cheating? I know a lot of women, they consume and they read smut books. They read these books on fantasy and they consume sexual fantasies of things that are basically book porn. Is that cheating? I think when it comes to self-care, I think that is not inherently wrong, and it's not your partner's responsibility to always take care of you if you're having a moment like that. So yeah.
Got it. So you're equating masturbating while watching strangers having sex to self-care?
That's kind of basically what it is. I mean, there's different ways you can do it, but I mean, it's like you could read it. There's people who read it while doing it. There's people who watch it while doing it. You could think about it while doing it. I would put all those things kind of in the same category. But yeah.
Got it. Are you in a relationship
Mm-hmm.
with a woman?
Yes.
Okay. And does she know that you watch pornography?
Yeah, she does the same thing.
Got it. So like if you're wanting to be intimate or whatever, and she's not available, or you just need some self-care, you're like, hey, I'm gonna go watch some other woman and have some self-care time. Is that?
I mean, it's not spoken. I don't from each one of
Why is
our
it not?
sides.
Why is it not spoken?
Private time is not that's your business. That's her business. I mean, we joke about it like every once in a while, like we don't live together, right? So every once in a while she's made jokes about, private time, but that's kind of like your business. That's when it's like I would just say for our personal relationship, that's not something that we both
yeah, got
just
it.
speak about on a regular.
Yeah. Is it private time or secret time?
Private time, whatever you do, I feel like whatever you do with your body personally that's your business. I like,
Got
for
it.
example,
So
like, you
so
don't
what if
figure-
what if you were to go visit a prostitute? Would that be private time?
No, because that goes against the boundaries as to what we both agreed on.
Oh, got it. You said whatever you do in your personal time is your business.
Whatever you do with whatever you do your personal time with your body,
Got it.
that's not going against what has already been confirmed in terms of boundaries of the relationship.
Got it. Okay. How often do you watch pornography?
Give me 1 second.
FBI, open up. Don't worry, Tony. We'll wait.
Sorry, man. It's my car. I don't know, something's wrong with it. These days, not. I can't even tell you. I'm so busy with work. I don't even know.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah. I don't think it's just about what two people agree on in their own personal boundaries of their relationship. I don't view my girlfriend, if that's what she's doing on her private time, that's if she wants to consume some corn and get off because we're not hanging out that day, and because that's fine. That's perfectly okay. I think if it becomes a thing to where it's not spoken about beforehand, to where both people can agree on those boundaries, or if I say no and you then do it anyway, then yeah, it's not okay. But I think the word cheating, there's no right or wrong answer, or there's no defined correct definition of what cheating is, because at the end of the day, cheating has to do with what you and that partner agree on in terms of your boundaries. For example, the last person they spoke on a polyamorous relationship, that's something that I would ever be okay and would ever consent to in a relationship. But apparently in their relationship with those three people, they were fine with it and they don't view that as cheating. So there's no necessarily direct or correct definition of what cheating is, because we as people, one-on-one between you and that person, y'all define those definitions. Y'all in your own relationship, you define those boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, cheating, as I would define it, is going against the agreed upon rules, right? So in this context, what are the rules that the couple has agreed that define the relationship? And I think it was the previous guest said it should be probably discussed way early on in the relationship, which I think is very helpful and healthy, is to get
Right.
clear on where do we stand with pornography from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for sharing. Hey there, what's going on?
What's up, man? So no, I don't think pornography is cheating, because I'm not gonna say that it's right. I'm not gonna say that it's right in your relationship, but I'm not gonna say that it's cheating, because in my head, cheating is intimate contact with any other individual that your partner does not consent of. You know what I
Got
mean?
it. Yeah, are you 18 or over, by the way?
Yeah, I'm 18.
Okay, cool. All right, so cheating is intimate contact with any other individual who's not your partner.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and let me real quick, Sam, you gotta speak in reality, man. What he said was something to the effect of whatever I do in my private time is okay. And then I gave an example to which the guest said, oh wait, hold on, it would actually have to be with what's agreed upon. And then I said, okay, right? So he actually kind of modified what he said after I posed that question. Okay, go back and watch the tape. You're screen recording it. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. You're screen recording it. Okay. All right, so when does cheating become cheating in your opinion then?
I think it goes along with how you or the last guy would define cheating, with breaking the terms set in your relationship. But
All
I don't know.
right, Sam,
I think
hold on
the
real quick.
definition is
Sam,
subjective.
look, man, I'm gonna ban you, okay? I appreciate having you on here, and I know you'll probably come back with another account, which is no problem. But now you're spamming. I'm in the middle of a conversation, okay, with multiple people here, and you're spamming the chat for me to go do something that you can go do yourself, okay? So respectfully, man, I wish we could have conversation here. And mods, help me out when, not if, but when he comes back on another account, just ban him, okay? And what was the timestamp? I don't know. It was like 4 minutes ago. Go figure it out, man. So bye, Sam. And report. How do I report him for what do I cite in the report? Annoying? Is that a way you can cite somebody?
Harassment. maybe?
Harassment? I don't know. Report. Spam. We'll go with spam. Submit. All right. Where were we?
The definition of cheating. I think the definition is objective. How you guys said it could be the terms, like if you're breaking the terms. But I just think it should be more specific. I think cheating itself would be intimate contact with another person. So let's say just flirting or in the bed with them. It doesn't matter. That would be cheating. I'm not gonna say that your partner doesn't want you driving fast and you go drive fast and they hate that, and you're driving fast every day and they hate it and they keep telling you to stop. I'm not going to say that that's cheating on your partner. I would, in a sense, say that it's like cheating on them in a mental way, but I wouldn't put that in the cheating label. I would just say that's wrong in your relationship, and that would be valid to end things with your partner, but I wouldn't consider it cheating. You know
Got
what I
it.
mean?
Yeah. All right. Do you watch pornography?
I don't, but I have struggled with an addiction in my past.
Okay. And how did you overcome that?
Honestly, you just have to discipline yourself, man. I got really into self-care and just maximizing every aspect of my life, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And did you say you are 18 years old or you're over 18?
Yeah,
You're
I'm 18.
Yeah. So when did you start watching porn?
Man, that's a crazy age. I was probably under 10 years old.
Under 10 years old. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty young.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? That's how this world is. You know?
Well, I know, man. I mean, statistically, most boys are exposed to it by the age of 13. Oftentimes it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old.
And kids are getting phones and tablets younger and younger, and there's no control really.
Yeah, yeah. What impact do you think that had on you by being exposed to pornography at such a young age?
Dude, the mental impact it has, it kills your discipline. You have no discipline. Like you think of it and you do it, right? And that doesn't just apply to that aspect of life. That's going to apply to all your aspects of life. You're not going to want to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you in a relationship?
No, I'm not.
Okay. What would you do if you were in a relationship and your girlfriend, I'm assuming you're heterosexual, your girlfriend was like, hey, let's watch pornography together. I think that we should regularly do that to spice it up. What would you do?
I mean, I would try it. I mean, like, you know what I mean? I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, it's still pornography. So, like, I'd rather just, like, do it with her instead of watching a video. But, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that aspect of relationships. Like, if you and your partner see each other every single day, there's no need.
Mm-hmm.
No need unless your partner is just not giving up to you. But I don't think you guys should be in a relationship in that case, unless there's a physical deficiency or something preventing you from that.
Mm-hmm. Maybe there's another possibility besides using other people outside your relationship. Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Oh, it's so much quieter in the chat now. Can we talk about how I've drinked a whole pot of coffee since I've been live in the last hour? Hey there, what's going on?
Hi, am I talking?
Are you talking? Yes, you're talking.
Okay, cool.
Unless you're AI.
No. I do think it is cheating. But I did have a question because it's back and forth between what is actually like pornography, you know what I mean? And my recent ex would like look up lingerie photos of like celebrities and like just like skimpy photos of actresses, and it really affected like my day-to-day because it's like these are women that we're watching shows together with and like we're watching movies together, and it's like a big deterrent like to have day-to-day activities with, because you're like, okay, I don't want to watch this movie with you because I've seen this woman's naked picture of lingerie in your phone. Like it's a total turn off. And then it's like it comes to the point of, hey, this is not any better than actual pornography, where it's, you know, actually like being pornography as well as not good at all. And then it's like, well, one is lesser of the evils, basically. Like if it's just photos, it's not that bad. So what do you think about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm trying to look up the source here. I think it's Dr. Alan McKee. He actually wrote a paper. He did a whole research paper to answer that question. What is pornography? Believe it or not, there's dispute about that. And essentially, it's a 30-page paper, but my summarization of it is imagery, usually depicting an organ or multiple organs of another person with the erotic intent to arouse.
Yeah.
And that last part, with the erotic intent to arouse, is where the difference between, a sex scene in a movie, that's different. That's different. Generally speaking, a sex scene in a movie is not pornography because its intended purpose does not have an erotic intent to arouse, right? Now, there can be variants in there, like I would say Game of Thrones, you know, my orientation, I look at that and I'm like, yeah, that's pornography. But you look at, you know, a more classic sex scene like Top Gun Maverick or something like that, there's not an erotic intent to arouse. Yeah.
No, yeah, I agree. And I'm also a very like Christian biblical mindset. So for me, it's like lust is between two people, you know, and I'm not to be a hypocrite, I'm not married or anything, but you know, he's the father of my baby. So I thought it was going to be like, oh, we're going to get married. It was a whole thing. But you know, and my mindset was up until I found out for the first time, it was like, oh my gosh, I feel like the most prettiest girl in the world by him. Like, I feel like, you know, I was already confident to begin with, you know, and then I got pregnant and it's like, okay, well, I see like 30 pictures of these actresses and just the faces. And I'm like, this is so weird. What is this? Like, why are you looking up all these girls' faces at like 3 a.m.? Okay, that's weird. And then it progresses into like, oh, it's video game porn. And that for me was like really weird as well. Cause I'm like, you're looking up, I don't know, Overwatch or I don't know what it is. Stuff like that. And it's like, I'm 6 months pregnant and I have body changes and I'm over here like crying sometimes saying like, oh, I'm changing, like I didn't, you know, this is crazy. And then added stress to that is I'm not enough, you're over here looking at all this stuff. So I do think it's cheating. I think it's very detrimental to someone's mental health. Like I'm still getting over it because it's like
Mm.
you can't. You look. It's just a whole thing. If you're in it and you're choosing to forgive and stay, like it still is a battle. You know,
Yeah.
and people don't think, especially men going onto the women's side. People do not think that it affects them, and it really does. It does affect intimacy. Like men are so used to shutting their screens off immediately after that I feel like it translates back into the act of intimacy where aftercare isn't a thing anymore, or they just turn over, or they like shut you off like it's a screen, and it's very like dehumanizing. And I've gone through that as well, and it just sucks, and it's a whole thing. Of course there's boundaries, like I think it does depend on per couple, but it's such a messed up thing that was invented. That's such a sacred thing that has been profited off of for other people. So yeah. Disgusting.
Yeah, and so what you're describing, at least in that instance, he may not have been viewing like hardcore pornography, but he was using pictures of other women to get something sexually. Well, you're over there, saying, well, what about me?
Yeah, and then there was hardcore pornography as well, but then, also during that time, I'm just like, he was saying, like the other guy said earlier, like, oh, it's my own body, like you can't regulate what I do. But then it's like, well, you are being secretive, you're being private. Like, it also led to him like having a emotional affair with like a girl online, and it was just a whole thing. So yeah, it was hardcore as well, and then it was just like pictures, and then it was like video game stuff. So it was several different things, and it was all just pointed back at me like I'm crazy for trying to regulate this, even though when we first got together he had said that he didn't do it, and he had the same values and morals as me. And then it was just like a whole thing of people change, I can do whatever I want. But then hearing that guy earlier, it's like, okay, well, what if your partner gets like a swastika tattooed on them and they don't let you know? You know what I mean? It's going to be unattractive. Like, hopefully it's going to be unattractive. Hopefully it's going to be something that's like, okay, this was a deterrent. Like, I thought you'd let me know about this because we're partners. We share things. Secrecy is a big thing that I think people are having a normalcy with nowadays. And it's sad, and it really messes up the psyche,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, the whole, I can do whatever I want with my body. Okay, fine. But when you get married, something's got to change. Right? Something's got to change.
Yeah.
That orientation of, well, I can do whatever I want whenever I want. That's not I would say that's not a winning attitude in marriage in general.
Yeah.
And that goes both ways, by the way. So
I feel like if you don't have that mindset, within dating that person, I don't think it's going to magically switch off orientating into marriage. You know what I mean? And I don't know if there's this whole thing that's like, oh, when I'm married, I guess I'll just stop. Like, it's going to be that thing. It's like, I always have this person. But, I was living with him, I never reserved myself for pornography. Like, I'm a very traditional woman. So it was like, hey, yeah, kind of like, I'm here for you. If you're here for me, then it was never copacetic. And how like it's portrayed online that women typically just like reject men all the time, I think that's totally biased. I think men reject a lot of women too that have like high drives, and the rejection, I guess, on both ends is horrible. But when you're being rejected and there's porn and you're pregnant, it's just a trifecta of like depression. So yeah, I do think it's cheating, point blank, I guess.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
I gotta go potty again. Be right back. Sam is back. Oh, great. Welcome back, Sam. Amber Paints, you there? No. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how you been?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I've been watching for some time. I don't know if you remember me or
I
not.
remember you. Yeah.
So I was just wondering, I see you struggle with a few of the polyamorous relationships, and I understand entirely. Isn't monogamy sort of a religious construct anyway?
I don't know. Is it?
I feel totally like it is, because if I was a creationist, I am a creationist. If I was an evolutionist, I would feel like I need more partners.
Mhm.
And I feel like if we framed the question, if we were just hanging out at a club and your guy looked at a girl and lusted after her, would that be okay? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's the same thing as porn right there, as lust in general. You're looking at someone on a screen, but how is that different than looking at someone across the street, and lusting after them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good question. How is it different?
I think there's a distancing, because I think a lot of these people, if you ask them if they would watch their partner watch porn, it wouldn't be so clear of an answer whether or not it's cheating or not. I think they would have more of a problem with it.
Yeah.
Because to watch your partner indulge in that, you would either want to be involved, you would have jealousy. And I think that's because we're an imprint of God, right? I think there's jealousy. And I think distancing yourself from it, going, that's his thing. That's what he does on weekends when I'm bored, or when he's bored, when I'm busy. I think that's simply just a terrible excuse, and it's cognitive dissonance at its worst. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. I chime in every once in a while. I appreciate what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interesting questions there, right? You could ask, what's the point of marriage, right? What is a nuclear family? What's a more ideal environment to raise children and to have a intact society? A lot of that's kind of out of scope for what we're talking about here, but I think that this question, is porn cheating, and what constitutes a marriage and a relationship, you kind of have to get into all of those questions as like ancillary components of this conversation.
Yeah, it's much deeper than it seems on the surface. And a lot of people take it for surface value, but it's not. Trust me, I talked to you before. I struggled for many years. It is not just, it's a fun thing I do, like playing games or something. It's not that. It is absolutely cheating. I'm not going, I'm just gonna have a bit of fun, that way I can get on with my day. That's not it. Now, when you're a porn addict, when you're watching porn, you are lusting, you are wanting other people, and it will leach into you, and then it'll be physical before you know it. It's a component of the physicality.
Yeah, well, there's a saying, what you look at affects your desire, right? So when you're looking at other people, when you're lusting after other people, looking away from your partner, you're going to desire them, and then you're just going to move towards fulfilling what you're looking at, what you're desiring, right? And so that's why it's in the context of a monogamous relationship, a commitment. Okay, well, what should we be putting our eyes on? Should we only strive to put our eyes on our partner, or should we let our eyes run wild? And the danger in that, the wisdom in that would say, be careful at what you look at. Be careful of where you're putting your eyes, because you're going to be tempted to go down that path.
Absolutely, and it's not even satisfactory. It's just a cycle. It's an endless cycle. If I'm intimate with my wife, I'm totally 100% satisfied. But I tell you, man, when I was in the heavy porn addiction, nothing satisfied me. You go 12 hours, nothing's gonna satisfy you. You just want to know what the next thing is. And if I lived like that in a physical way, I would be a monster. And frankly, what's the difference? I mean, if I am a monster in my soul or monster physically, I'm still a monster. And man, It's people don't know where it leads. That's what's scary to me is they haven't seen where it leads, man. It's terrible.
Yeah, totally. All right, man. Well, thanks for sharing. Appreciate you coming back.
Of course, I'll keep watching. Good luck to you.
Sounds good, man. Take care. To the person that asks if I would watch pornography if I wasn't married or wasn't in a relationship, no, 0%. No, I played that game. It's a terrible game to play. A man without a purpose or vision in life distracts himself with pleasure. That's part of what it is. It's pleasure seeking. It's I just want to feel good right now. What can I do to make myself feel good right now, no matter what the cost? Pornography, it hijacks your brain, and this is proven. This is scientifically proven. This is not my opinion, though I do share it as an opinion. It is not good for your brain. It's not good for your soul to be using people like they're a magazine to say, I want this, I want this, I want this. People are much more than just their sexual value. One of the problems with pornography is that it reduces a person down to just their sexual value. And people are much more than sexual beings, though we are sexual beings. People do have sexual value, though we're much more than our sexual value. And if we're thinking about it just in terms of sexual value, that's where we're missing the whole relational component of what it means to be in a relationship, to fully dignify another person. So, no, I wouldn't use pornography if I wasn't married or in a relationship, because I know where that path leads. And I'm out for that. All right, I'm going to wind it down here. Sam, what's your... Okay, so I'll go back and watch it. And if I said something, then I'll correct it. No problem. Yeah, I keep blocking you because you're probably the most disrespectful person that I've ever had on here. And that says a lot, man. That says a lot. I had some people early on that were pretty disrespectful. I don't know. You're right up there with them. And Sam, I don't get why you're here. Like, why are you here? Why are you here? What do you want from this? Sam, I'll go back and watch it. And if there's something to be corrected, I'm happy to correct it. And if you want to come on here and chat, you've actually lost that, so we'll ban you again. All right. Great being with you guys. Today. By the way, I'm a coach. I do one-on-one coaching as well as group coaching, both for men who are struggling with unwanted sexual behavior, such as porn or sex addiction. If you're wanting to break free from a porn or sex addiction, you can schedule a call with me using the link in my bio. If you're a woman who has been betrayed by somebody who is using pornography or has had an affair, I have a group for women as well, led by myself and other female contributors. It's a great place to heal together because healing doesn't occur until it's witnessed empathetically. So if you're looking for a place to heal and community, you can schedule a call with me. Or there's actually this thing now TikTok is doing down there. It's like a contact form or something like that. So you can use that as well. Have a good day. I don't see this talked about a lot, so thanks for the discussion. Well, here we are. Great being with you all. Make it a great day or not. The choice is always yours. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.